Hi, I'm Blair Butler, and welcome to Fresh Ink Online Edition. Now, once in a rare while, we get a week with so many great comics that I want to talk about that I can't even get to them all. So right off the top, a couple of things you should definitely pick up, because you know I've loved them earlier on the show. Echo, new issue of Echo, great comic. Joker's Asylum Two-Face. I love this one for the art and for the very interactive last page. Definitely worth checking out. Kyle Baker's Special Forces, which continues to delight me despite the fact that the heroine is wearing the most impractical battle fatigues I've ever seen. You don't wear booty shorts in Iraq, but whatever, it's a great comic. And last but not least, another issue of The Boys I actually kind of enjoyed about a superhero team trying to rescue some hostages, and it all goes to hell in the most horrible way I could ever imagine. So there you go, right off the top, and now we're going to get into details, starting with the latest issue of The Hulk. This is Hulk issue number 5, and it is, of course, the 5th part of the Red Hulk storyline coming to us from writer Jeff Loeb. And the more I read this series, the more I realize that if I were a little kid, picking up comics for the first time, this would be one of the ones that I remember growing up as being a blast to read. Because, listen, if you were an artist working with Jeff Loeb, you'd be having a blast on this. It's nothing but splash pages of two giant, super strong superheroes beating the cookies out of each other. We've had Hulk versus A-Bomb, Hulk versus Red Hulk, and now Red Hulk versus Thor. It's a great fight. It's a lot of fun. This series, it's not going to stimulate your cranium, but it will make you really enjoy every minute. And if you have a younger reader that's trying to get into comics and wants something action-packed, by all means, you should pick up Red Hulk. Now, for something that will definitely stimulate and perhaps even baffle your cranium, we've got Final Crisis, issue number 3. If you've watched this podcast, you know that one of my little quibbles with Final Crisis is that it isn't terribly accessible to new readers. Now, this is a big summer event, but I have to tell you, if you're reading it and you're going, hey, who's Commandy? Who's Turpin? Some people might not even know about Mary Marvel. They're going to be really, really confused. Now, if you do know a lot about the DC canon, then this is a pretty cool issue filled with a lot of action, a lot of reveals, including a new S&M version of Mary Marvel beating the cookies. I said it again, beating the cookies out of Wonder Woman. At the end of the day, I really had a couple moments where I was reading this and I had to stop and scratch my head, and in fact went over to one of my coworkers and I was like, hey, is Jade in this issue? And he was like, I know, I thought I saw Jade in this issue. She's dead. So I get that we have these multiple Earths and people are coming back, but actually, the continuity and the sort of knowledge of DC minutia involved in this, it's kind of mind-boggling. So while I think for longtime DC fans, this is definitely a home run, for everybody else, you're still probably going to be a little bit puzzled, even if the last page leaves us a lot to look forward to. Up next, the always excellent Criminal, issue number 4. Yes, Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips return with a new noir crime storyline, and this one is about a guy who actually writes comics, who used to be a counterfeiter. That comes back to bite him in a big way. Again, if you haven't been reading Criminal, A, you should be, but B, this is a great time to pick up a brand new storyline. Always good, always worth your money, end of story. And for the not quite a hat trick, it's a two-way tie for pick of the week. All right, so first up, we've got The Sword, issue number 10. Now, as you all know, I love The Sword, but I have to say the book has struck a bit of an interesting rhythm, because what we got was a first issue that blew me out of the water, a second issue which a little exposition heavy, a third issue blew me out of the water, fourth issue kind of a mix between the two, and since then we've really alternated between these amazing action-packed issues that really further the story and a lot of exposition issues where you sort of get to this place where there's going to be something major that happens. Well, this issue, something major happens. It's great. It's all action. It's an amazing visual tour de force by the Luna Brothers. And I have to tell you, if you haven't been reading this series about a girl with a mystical sword that's definitely intended for adults, you're totally missing out. And you know what? If there's anybody out there, in film or TV development that's watching this, if you guys haven't optioned this, you're out of your mind. This book is awesome, and the last page of issue 10 is the kind of cliffhanger that makes me wish I could get in a time machine and go forward a month so I can buy issue number 11. It's good, solid stuff. And for part 2 of Pick of the Week, it's gotta go to The Killer, issue 7 of 10. Now, The Killer is, of course, a wonderful import from France about a hitman with a not so much a conscience, but a really introspective nature. Again, I've always loved this series because instead of the sort of the blood, bullets, and octane approach that so many Hitman kind of comics or games or movies take, this one is actually really fascinating. It's about waiting for your prey. Well, in this issue, number 7, it finally gets personal in a very big way. And again, by the end of this issue, you want to jump in the time machine and go forward a month so you can get the next issue. So if you haven't read The Killer yet, my gosh, there are only 7 issues out there. You can pick them all up at your local comic book store, and it's worth every damn penny. A wonderful import, and I'll leave you with that. This has been Fresh Ink Online Edition. You can see back episodes of this at www.G4tv.com/freshink. I'm out of air, so I'm leaving. Bye. So if you've watched this podcast, you know that one of my sort of quibbles about this series is that I said quibble. It sounds like dribble.